I'm Robert Harley. I've been following commercial property in Australia for over 30 years. Today I'm talking about shopping centres. I'm talking with Peri Macdonald, who is the Executive General Manager Retail for Frasers Property Australia. Peri, your Chief Executive, Rod Ferring, said that retail, your shopping centre business, would be the differentiating factor for his business this year. What did he mean?
Rod was really talking about two things. Firstly, the importance we place on retail within our communities in terms of providing a level of service and amenity, but also providing the backdrop for really unique and memorable places that we're developing. And secondly, the type of retail that we're developing, being what we're calling super neighbourhood.
So Peri, exactly what is a super neighbourhood centre?
So a super neighbourhood centre is a neighbourhood tenancy mix being food and convenience with the addition of entertainment, an expanded services offer and an expanded food and beverage offer.
And for the financials, what sort of rentals will you get? Will they be above neighbourhoods? Will they be below sub-regionals?
We've done a lot of research into this super neighbourhood sector. Generally what we're seeing on average, turnovers in super neighbourhood centres are 30% higher than standard neighbourhood centres. And that equates to, from a landlord's perspective, a greater ability for tenants to A, be sustainable, but also pay a higher rental. So on average we're seeing rents that are about 20% higher than a standard neighbourhood centre.
What would be the challenge for some of these centres? One of them is that once you get a little bit bigger for a neighbourhood centre, you start getting too many stores. They start cannibalising each other. Is that a risk for you?
We're not seeing a lot of duplication of uses because really what we're doing is expanding the tenancy mix, particularly in areas of entertainment and services. So a traditional neighbourhood centre would have been more focused on food and convenience. We're really taking that tenancy mix and then adding to it entertainment and an expanded services offer. And with the entertainment use in particular comes an expanded food and beverage offer as well.
So sub-regionals are the one that have that discount department store?
Historically, sub-regional centres have traded at a premium to neighbourhood centres. What we're seeing now is that that's actually reversing and neighbourhood centres are starting to trade at yields that are firmer than sub-regional centres. So that risk premium that was applied to neighbourhood centres is no longer there.
That's because of convenience? That's because they are competing better with the internet shopping and Amazon, is it? Is that the story?
I think they're more immune to the impact of online retail, but importantly, they're providing a tenancy mix that supports and sustainable sales. The yield is a function of growth and sustainability of income, and that's why.
What sort of entertainment uses would you put into a shopping centre like that?
So we're seeing cinemas coming into all of our super neighbourhood centres. What we're seeing now, particularly consumers have a real preference for experience over products, that cinemas are a key component of a really strong tenancy mix. So we are seeing cinemas coming into smaller centres.
You've got a cinema here in Palace.
We do.
In Central Park.
We do, and this is a good example of a super neighbourhood centre. It's about 12 to 13,000 square metres in lettable area, has a very strong food anchor, has a cinema as another anchor tenant, and then a mix of good fresh food catering in terms of food and beverage, and other services such as banking, medical and other health services.
How can cinemas work with such a small catchment?
So cinemas are working. We're seeing formats are probably becoming a bit smaller than they were historically. I think there's also a renaissance of cinema in Australia at the moment through product, and also the cost of constructing cinemas is cheaper than it used to be with the advent of digital technology.
When you talk about entertainment, I mean, can you give us some examples of, you've got a time zone here, is that the sort of thing you're talking about?
That games area has really evolved, again with the advent of digital technology, so that we're seeing that entertainment offer being a lot broader and more of a family offer than what it used to be with sweaty teenagers in pinball parlours.
That's right. Peri, you've been developing and involved in shopping centres for a long time. You actually work for a retailer. You've been doing it for over 20 years. What makes a good shopping centre?
We think about four things. Firstly, data. Secondly, place. Thirdly, sustainability. And lastly, tenancy mix.
And data, what do you mean? There's a lot of talk about more and more data to drive shopping centres. What are you doing in that space?
We're a mixed-use developer that is developing residential and retail together. So we have a deep knowledge of the catchments that we're developing in.
The next point you talk about is place. What do you mean by creating good places?
We think it's critical to create retail places that are unique and memorable. What we're doing at Burwood Brickworks is a really good example of that, where we're developing an urban farm within that shopping centre. It's the first time it's been done within a shopping centre.
How do you actually work out a different sort of shopping centre?
We're very focused on authenticity within our designs, authenticity that actually reflects the catchment that it's servicing. And again, this is one of the benefits that we have at Frasers Property, in that we're developing those communities so we deeply understand who they are and what they want and how they want to use space and place.
Thirdly, Peri, you've got sustainability. In today's world, everybody claims to be sustainable, but when you scratch them, they're not quite as sustainable as you think. So what are you doing?
Well, we're doing a lot. We're striving for Living Building Challenge certification, which is the most advanced measure of sustainability in the built environment, and it means exactly that. This building will generate more power than it uses. It will capture, treat and repurpose more water than it uses. It will have world's best practice waste management. It will be built by materials that are non-toxic. It will have a real social focus as well. It will be embedded within the community in terms of supporting community initiatives, and it will be a building that will educate the community and the industry on sustainability.
And show a commercial return.
And show a commercial return.
Well, that's very interesting. The last point you make about shopping centres is you've got to have the right tenancy mix. And my sense is that the tenants are much more conservative these days. The old days where they just wanted to get spaces for market share have gone. They really want to be very more careful about what they're renting and very more careful about what they're paying.
Tenancy mix is critical to success within a centre, and it ties back to having a tenancy mix that reflects and will serve the catchment that you're within. This is one of the things about Super Neighbourhood, in that it is a tenancy mix that relates directly to the catchment that it's servicing and is really responding to how our consumer preferences are changing, demanding more entertainment, demanding more food and beverage, and demanding more services. So it's actually a tenancy mix that stands up really well in the current environment within the right catchments.
Thank you very much, Peri Macdonald from Frasers Property.